Hi, I'm Cameron Humphreys from Humphreys Outdoor Power, and today I am here to talk about chainsaws. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the most popular chainsaw Stihl has ever made, the Stihl Farm Boss. Let's dive in. So I get the question all the time, do you have a Farm Boss? And the answer to that is a little convoluted. So let me give you a little bit of history first. The original Farm Boss from Stihl that everybody knows and loves from the 90s and on was the 029 and then the 290. Those were the OG Farm Bosses. Those were around 55 cc's. The 029 and the 290 could both have 325 or 3/8 pitch chain. Most people bought those with a 20-inch bar. They were awesome saws. That's one of the things that Stihl has built their brand around, is how popular the Farm Boss was. So fast forward to modern day, we now have the MS 271 in the lineup, and it's considered the Farm Boss. So the reason they did that, it's now a 50 cc saw, but they wanted to do that to hit a certain price point. So for an 18-inch 271, you're right at $499.99, so right at a $500 saw. For a really good 18-inch saw, for $10 more, you can go ahead and add a 20-inch bar to that. It's an awesome saw, tried and true, but it is 5 cc less than the old Farm Bosses that were around. Which brings me to what I usually recommend whenever people are looking for an old Farm Boss or are trying to replace their old Farm Boss, would be the 291, which is this guy right here. It is the same 55 cc. It's a little bit more expensive. So right now you can get one of these for $599.99 with a 20-inch bar. But that extra 5 cc is going to help you if you're going to be putting on a 20-inch bar. So it's going to give you a little bit more power and cut just that much better. And again, that is closer to the bread and butter chainsaw that Stihl made long ago and kind of helped put Stihl on the map. The MS 270, great saw, highly recommended if you're going to keep an 18. It will run a 20, but again, I do like that extra 5 cc whenever I'm going to a 20-inch bar. Now, since we are talking about what I like, I'm actually a big fan of the MS 261. You can still run either an 18 or a 20-inch bar on this, but it's a Pro Series saw, so it's got a magnesium case, tends to rev out a little bit higher than the others, and it's quite a bit lighter. So while the MS 271 and 291 come in at right around 12 pounds, the 261 here is going to come in at 10.8. So I really like that for the weight to power ratio. Now, that does come with a higher price tag. With a 20-inch bar right now, you're looking at $720. So significantly higher price, but man, the weight on that thing is awesome. The power to rate aspect is great. I think it runs a 20-inch bar just as well as the 291, which is a 55 cc saw. Even though it's only a 50 cc saw, just the way it's built, it runs a little bit more efficiently, runs with a little bit more power. One of the other things I really like about this saw is that it actually has a compression release right here. So usually that doesn't come on these smaller saws. It only comes on a bigger saw like a MS 311, 381, whenever you get to some of those bigger jugs where that compression can be hard to pull. But with this one being on a relatively small saw, it pulls very, very easy. I get a lot of customers who want easy start, but don't necessarily like the way the spring system works there. This one will pull exactly like a regular saw, except when you relieve that compression by hitting this button, it'll pull super, super smooth, just like a regular saw, as opposed to that springy kind of wait for it to hit type deal. So this has become a very, very popular saw for people who want an easy start option as well. The 261 is my favorite. It currently comes with an M-tronic carburetor as well, so it's auto-adjusting carburetor on there. Really nice feature that's been very popular. But I did want to just take a minute to kind of clarify, when you come in looking for a Farm Boss, technically the correct answer is a 271, even though it's only 50.2 cc. If you're trying to replace an old Farm Boss, you may want to take a look at the MS 291, which again is that 55 cc that everyone's known and loved. Now, one other thing to note, on the old Farm Bosses, like I mentioned earlier, you could convert to 3/8. You can't do that with these saws. So these are going to be 325 all the time. And then we can also look at different gauge chains. These now come with 50 gauge chains. They used to come in 63. So if you're trying to match up some of your old chains, you may need to make some bar adjustments there to do that, but you certainly can do that. So just wanted to take some time to clarify some of the myths and legends around Stihl's most popular saw. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure to comment down below. And if you like content like this, make sure to subscribe. Thanks, have a great day. Which is a 55cc saw, even though it's only a 50cc saw. Even though it's only a 50cc saw, just the way it's built, it runs a little bit more efficiently, runs with a little bit more power.